All right, good Thursday evening, everyone. Hope everybody's having a good day out there, or good evening, that is. So, we are live and we're going to go over some snow that's going to happen. Models have been trending a little bit colder, which we knew that was going to happen. It always happens, it seems, as we get closer to the event. And we're going to go over snowfall accumulations here in just a few minutes. We're going to go over future radar and what's going to happen this next week. Models are still all over the place on track. Track is key on that one um, for early next week. It's going to be a lot going on with that system. And then we are going to have another system possibly to talk about next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend as well. So there is action packed winter weather going to be happening throughout the area as we go towards mid month. And then the Arctic hammer is going to basically come down out of the north, Canada north, out of the polar regions there. We're blocking up in Greenland as well. And as soon as just drive that Arctic hammer, what I call the Polar Express, it's going to be chugging its way along down into the southern parts of the United States, and possibly we're going to be coast to coast cold as we get towards not this weekend, but next. All right, so let's get into the current hazards map. Let me get this overlay off real quick so you can see what's going on. There we go. All right, so over here in Arkansas, in the higher elevations, above about 1,000 to 1,500 feet, we have winter weather advisories out. Parts of northwest Arkansas, north central Arkansas, the higher elevations. And it does not include the Ouachitas at the moment, but I am expecting some accumulation, especially in the higher elevations down there. We have winter weather advisories up here in northern parts of Oklahoma, all the way through parts of the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas, where they have upgraded a small part up here to a winter storm warning here in the last probably hour or so, because I did not see this about an hour ago. So this system is coming through, and it's going to deliver some snow, first snows of the season across first accumulating snows of the season across parts of the area. Out west, they already have winter storm warnings out in the Sierra Nevadas. With that next storm system, that's going to be digging in through California into the west, and then they're going to eject out east and then create an absolute mess across the southern plains in through this Midwest, possibly next week. Then after that, the Arctic hammer is going to be coming down. So, I said winter weather advisories. We have winter storm warnings out here in New Mexico. Winter storm watches from North Carolina all the way to Virginia, West Virginia, over to Maryland, Pennsylvania, just northwest of New York City, up towards the big cities of Boston as well. Lots of snow that's going to be happening. Now, down this way, mixed precipitation is possible with up to 1/4 inch of ice. We highlighted that last night. If you saw our live last night, we pushed out some maps yesterday as well. We're thinking there's going to be some icing problems out here, especially even not just this weekend, but over the next couple weeks, as this cold air damming basically comes. This northeastern fetch of flow brings that colder, drier air down. Shallow depths of cold air just banks up against these mountains here. Hard to really shove away. So once we get a storm system up through there, we're gonna have freezing rain and icing problems up through parts of the Carolinas and through Virginia and the Mid Atlantic this week or this weekend. That is. Alrighty, so we're gonna go over current temperatures because this is key of what could possibly come. We're going to either bust on accumulations or it's going to be more than anticipated, because we are marginal temperatures here through this event. So it could be 31, 32, 33 degrees Or if it goes higher than that, if your area is 34, 35, 36, and you're expecting 1 to 2 inches of snow, you could be down to barely nothing. So this is very marginal. We went through this last year, kind of through, I think it was late January, where you had really marginal temperatures, a lot of temperatures with the models. We're saying, oh, it's going to be the mid 30s and maybe a dusting to 3 4 inches of snow at the most in the higher elevations. Well, then it ended up being a lot colder than that, and a lot of areas in northern Arkansas and the mountains, southern Missouri, got almost a foot of snow last year. Now, we're not talking about that kind of dynamic system yet, but this is going to be a little challenging because we have to basically watch what current temperatures are doing, and let's see what the models are telling us as well. So, like for example, 31 Springfield, up to St. Louis, 34, 41 in Tulsa. Go over to Amarillo, Texas. It's 30 degrees already, so they're going to have more accumulations out that way. I think that's why they're starting to edge the winter storm warnings a little bit further east in Texas as well. So let's take a peek at what the models are saying, what the temperature should be at the moment. All right, here is the latest HRRR, the short range model here, the high res model. So let's take a look at some of those temperatures. We saw the current temperatures, right? So go out here towards Amarillo. It's saying it's supposed to be 32 degrees right now, and it's actually 30. So that kind of gives me a little worry as we get this event underway tomorrow. And we're going to have some pretty good moderate to heavy snow bands set up, mainly across parts of the mountains of Arkansas as well. But even towards central Arkansas, you can see some heavier snow rates. The big question is how cold or how warm is it going to get? That's going to limit accumulations. You may see a lot of snow falling through the area, but if your temperatures are 34, 35 degrees, accumulation is going to be hard to come by. It can't overcome the ground temperatures if it is snowing hard enough. So that's the biggest worry up here in northwestern Arkansas at the moment, is because once you get up in higher elevation, it's going to stay colder longer. We're going to have some possibly travel issues up that way, especially over bridges and overpasses. Some of the higher elevations, about 1,500 to 2,000 feet, could stay below freezing most of the day. So I think there's going to be some decent accumulations up that way. We'll get into that here in just a second. So all right. So, like I said, it was supposed to, it's actually 30 degrees in Tulsa right now, but the model is saying it's supposed to be 32. Go up to Tulsa, right? Current temperature is 41. Model is saying 45. So, we're talking 2 to 3 degrees below guidance here with just this model. Okay. Go up to Springfield. 31 degrees is actual temperature. It's saying it's supposed to be 35. So, you see what I'm saying? Got about 2 to 4 degree lower difference between models and actual air temperatures. And that could mean all the difference between you either getting a cold rain or mixed with snow or some accumulations across the area. So let's get into the accumulation map here. Alrighty, so here is the accumulation. I posted this on the Facebook page earlier today. All right, so light blue, that's the areas that is most in question. Temperatures could go either way. For one, is it going to be snowing outside? Yes. How fast is it going to transition to basically a mix to rain is going to be a big question across most of like the western metro area, Little Rock, up towards a little bit of northeastern Arkansas, up towards just northeast or northwest of Poplar Bluff. That area is in question. I think you may see some snow on the onset. Like I said, it's going to be, will it be a quick transition to rain, or will it snow longer across this area? So, like I said, this is going to be either a boom or bust out here towards the lighter blue here. So that's why I put 0 to a dusting plus, because If you get just a little bit, just west of Little Rock into, you get in those higher elevations, just west of Little Rock, you might get a little bit more than that. That's why I said 0 to dusting in the light blue here. I'm thinking there's going to be more of a mixture. First, it's going to start. It'll be snowing on the onset, and then, like I said, big question is how fast the changeover occurs. Okay, so as we get into the darker blue here, we're talking most of Missouri. Now, northern parts of Missouri, you're going to have another disturbance come through late Friday and Friday night into Saturday morning. And that's going to get you some accumulations up that way. Okay, now, as far as southern southwestern Missouri in through northwest Arkansas and the Ouachitas here, I think 1 to 2 inches plus is possible, especially if you get above about 1,500 feet to 2,000 feet. I think you're going to easily get 2+ inches, maybe even 3 to 4, depending. If it stays below freezing above 1,500 feet most of the day, which the way the trends are, 2 to 4 degrees is going to make a big difference across most of this area, and we can get a lot more snow than what I'm depicting here. So 1 to 2 inches plus here in northwest Arkansas, Fayetteville over towards just southwest of Harrison, right around the Harrison area, down towards Marshall, Boston Mountains, basically is going to be the big winners here. Now down here towards, like I said, you get towards West Plains, Mountain Home, a little bit lower elevation. I believe Mountain Home's right around 800 feet or so. You just get outside north of town. I believe it's right around 1,000 feet up towards the Missouri border. Like I said, through the Ozarks, there's a lot of hills, a lot of valleys. Get on top of that hill, you could have accumulations, but then when you go down towards the valley, it could be snowing but not accumulating because it's a little bit warmer. So it all depends on the temperature with this system. Okay, so Fayetteville, Springdale, this south to the Bobby Hopper tunnel down here on I-49, then over east towards the higher elevation Boston Mountains, over towards the Harrison area, down towards Marshall, 1 to 2 plus, 1 to 2 plus here. Then we get over to just northwest of Tulsa, up towards Wichita, Garden City, down to Amarillo. I think 1 to 2 plus easily, especially out here in the panhandles. I think there's going to be a little bit more out that way. I think just north of Amarillo, I think there's going to be possibly 3 to 5 up that way. Because, like I said, models are trending colder. Actually, models are not trending colder. The actual current temperatures are 2 to 3 degrees colder, which is going to make a huge difference across this area. And you might want to check back in with me mid-morning tomorrow, as I may have to up these amounts. But I think the safe bet at the moment is this. Now, if you want to travel out to parts of New Mexico, they're getting crushed out there with 5 to 10 plus inches of snow, especially in the higher elevations above 6,500 feet. I think they're looking towards almost a foot in parts of the area there this is through Friday. So most of this will be winding down tonight into tomorrow morning. And as it's going to be moving east here early in the morning. And then it'll get through central northern Arkansas into central Missouri here, south central Missouri by mid morning, maybe a little bit earlier than that. And there is some dry air, mid-level dry air, that it's going to have to saturate the column basically. So we're going to get a little bit more top-down cooling as well once this precipitation starts falling. So it'll bring the temperature down even more. So I'll be honest with you. My gut feeling is I need to probably up amounts across northwest Arkansas, and especially above 1,500 feet. I just have a gut feeling they're going to get way more than 2 inches of snow on this, especially with seeing latest trends out here towards the panhandles here with the 2 to 3 to 4 degrees lower than what that 2 to 3 to 4 degrees what the actual temperature is versus what the models are showing. The difference is That is. All right. So here's this. So let's take a look at future radar. All right, latest HRRR here. You see a lot of snow out here towards panhandles of Oklahoma, Texas, southwestern Kansas. Lots of heavy snow out here at the moment. And then this is going to be translating east as we go towards 2 o'clock in the morning. And then look at this. See, this is exactly what I mean about top down cooling. So we have this rain coming down into that drier air. Dew points are a little bit lower than what the air temperatures are. So everything's going to kind of meet in the middle here. So once that column saturates, look at this. Right on 3 o'clock in the morning, it's raining. And then all of a sudden, bam, look at this. Snow starting around the Tulsa area, maybe even southeastern parts of Oklahoma could see some flakes out of this before it changes to rain pretty quickly tomorrow. But this is, like I said, there's going to be some heavy snow bands in with this. So don't be surprised to see those big, huge, fat flakes flying. Visibility is dropping pretty rapidly. Just watch those bridges and overpasses. And then if temperatures are borderline 32, 33, 34 degrees, if you get a heavy snow band, it drops a ton of snow. I mean, it's going to create somewhat of a slushy mess on the roads temporarily before it melts off. So please be aware of what's happening. A lot of people can't even drive. I hate to say this, a lot of people can't even drive when it's sunny and 70 outside. So just be careful out there. I know a lot of states have those apps where you can check road conditions. You might want to look at that. Plus, they have traffic cameras, stuff like that you can look at. And I may go live in the morning as well with y'all, so we can kind of see what's going on throughout the area. We can look at some traffic cams. I know RDOT's got a lot of traffic cams throughout the state that we can look at as well. Alrighty, so this is 7 a.m. coming into western parts of Arkansas, just west of Hot Springs, up to Fayetteville. It'll be snowing. This is 7 o'clock in the morning. So rush hour is going to be interesting up in northwestern parts of Arkansas. Heavier snows across the borders of Kansas and Oklahoma. And you can see across central to eastern Oklahoma, basically is getting dry slotted now. So it's going to wind it. Basically, you'll have a few hour window of maybe some snow coming down, and then it's going to be over across that area. So then as we get towards Arkansas, northwest Arkansas really gets hammered. And then all of a sudden, there's going to be some bright bands here, some banding that happens even across central Arkansas, maybe even Hot Springs. Like I said, there's going to be some questions on how warm or how cold it is. Like I said, if Little Rock stays around 35, 36, 34 degrees, your accumulations are going to be minimal across that area. Okay. So then we get towards 11 to 12. It's really coming down across north central Arkansas towards Mountain Home, just southwest of West Plains, up here towards Springfield, some flurries, some snow showers. Towards Kansas, it's still snowing pretty good out that way. And then see how it gets towards eastern Arkansas. Warms up too much towards eastern Arkansas. That's why nothing's really going to happen out that way. So cold rain for Memphis and eastern parts of Arkansas. Much needed rain down here through Mississippi. And then as we go throughout Saturday night, see the snow starting to change over here in parts of Kentucky. There's going to be some accumulations up there as well. Scattered, maybe some drizzle hanging around across Missouri, parts of northern Arkansas, maybe some flurries that hang out as well up here towards Iowa. And then this is basically kind of done Saturday evening. Like I said, a little bit of maybe some sleet pellets, maybe some snowflakes hanging around across parts of the area here in Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, up here towards Illinois, northern Arkansas or so. Now, what's going to happen out in the Carolinas? Let's take a look at that real quick. Alrighty, so this is midnight Saturday. morning, basically 1 o'clock Saturday morning. Freezing rains on starting to really get going here across western North Carolina here. I think South Carolina may be spared, but I don't know. I don't buy that now. The way the models are being a little bit too warm at the moment. So freezing rain, sleet, snow. I'll likely see 6 a.m. Saturday morning. It's really snowing hard up here, northern parts of Kentucky in through Ohio. Then, as you can see, as we get throughout the day on Saturday, that freezing rain sleet mixture turns into straight rain down in North Carolina, and then it's really mixing into a real mess around Washington D.C. up towards West Virginia. Lots of snow up that way. Like I said, there's winter storm watches all the way through the area here. Now, this is having a big changeover into the big city of New York City, that is, as we go into Saturday night. So that'll be interesting to see that way. Now, all you NFL fans, if you're watching any the New England game this weekend, there could be snow up in Boston as we go into Sunday. So that'd be something cool to watch as well. All right. So, see how much freezing rain is printing out here. So, small sliver of freezing rain basically banked up against the mountains here. So, a quarter to possibly 4/10 of an inch could be possible. Like I said, once you get to a quarter inch or higher, you start having some issues. Some isolated power outages, some of those weaker power lines could be coming down. So, something to keep an eye on up here towards the Mid Atlantic in through the Carolinas. All right. All right. So that was a lot to talk about. So let's briefly go into next week's system. Alrighty. So let's take a look at water vapor. You can see where this system is right now. It's going to come through the area tonight and through this weekend, except for New Mexico, all the way through the East Coast. And then here's a piece of our next troublemaker up here, just south of Alaska here. Data sparse region, of course, over the oceans here. So this thing was kind of over Alaska yesterday, so we were getting some measurements. The models were like really in line yesterday for some reason. It was like what is going on here? And then all of a sudden, now the models are all crazy again because we're not getting any data on it because there's no upper air network over the ocean. So once this thing comes on board on shore here, start sending up some weather balloons, get some measurements on this thing, input it into the models, and then we'll have a better feel where this track is going to be. Track's going to be key next week. Whether you get a bunch of rain, severe weather, or almost a blizzard across parts of the area. I mean, somebody's going to get absolutely dumped, but we'll just have to see where this track goes next week. So let's take a look at that real quick. Let's get over here to Central. All right. So, excuse me. All right. So here's tonight's system, kind of winding through here. Kind of a cool, kind of or cold, kind of dreary weekend across parts of the area, Arkansas, Missouri. Like I said, with some rain showers, sleet pellets, snowflakes around most of the weekend. Then it kind of dies out, and we get the return flow coming in. This is Monday. Lots of rain ongoing, and then here we go with this storm system. This is digging really far south now with the latest run. This is the Canadian. Canadian's been doing pretty well lately. Euro's been jumping all over the place. Same with the GFS. So this is bringing snow down into just south of the Red River into Texas on Tuesday morning. This is going to be an interesting thing to watch. This thing's going to be rapidly developing. Look at this 984 low over here towards the western parts of Mississippi. Snow through parts of northern Arkansas, all the way through southeastern Oklahoma, maybe even Dallas getting in on some snow. We'll have to see how this plays out because that'll be really interesting if that happens. And then this low pressure, this is going to be an absolute monster low Okay, so 979 should be a ton of wind with this 40 to 45-mile-an-hour gusts, heavy snow falling wherever this basically trowel feature sets up just northwest of this low. That's where you get the heavy amounts of snow across the maybe even parts of northeastern Arkansas, southwest or southeastern parts of Missouri. We'll have to see where this track goes. Along the Gulf Coast, you're going to see severe weather. Okay, you're going to see some severe weather, and I'll show you that here in just a second. Now, as this low gets out of here, it's going to be enough wraparound snow, possibly, like I said, depending on track. You may see some snow around Memphis, uh, towards western parts of Kentucky, southern Illinois here, Boot Hill of Missouri. So something to bear watching. Now, as we get through next weekend, there's another system that comes through, and models are all over the place on that. But the storm terrain is going to continue for now. Let me just show you. I'm going to show you one run of the models here. So here's this system coming in Friday, tomorrow into Saturday, and then here's this next storm system coming in for there. So, like I said, there's going to be a lot of discrepancies. We got to get this thing measured and again, and get basically get the models on board here. So here's the GFS. The track's a little bit further northwest. You can see it is basically this burying parts of Missouri into northwestern Arkansas. This has 11, 12 inches of snow for Fayetteville over to Branson, Missouri, up towards Rolla, just northwest of St. Louis. This happens. This will be a crippling snow, and this will be along with 20 to 30, 40-mile-an-hour gusts. So it'll be blizzard-like conditions across the area if this actually happens. Okay, so like I said, models are all over the place. Don't take these these numbers into where it's actually going to be true, because you will be disappointed. So don't be like, oh my gosh, I live in Branson, I'm going to get a foot of snow. That's probably not going to happen. So this all depends where this low goes. If it stayed on this track at the moment all the way through the event, then you could see some of these amounts. If this storm gets a little bit more negatively tilted, then we'll get a bigger trail on the backside of this and a lot more heavier snow as we go forward. So let's take a look at where the severe weather is going to be. Alrighty, severe weather. This is for Monday afternoon, basically. So this is basically along the Gulf Coast through Texas. We're talking Houston, over to New Orleans, Mobile, Alabama, over towards Pensacola, I believe. And so, over towards Panama City as well. So there's Monday afternoon, basically. And then as we get towards Tuesday, we have a slight risk out for most of Florida here. Talking Jacksonville over to Tampa, St. Petersburg, Orlando, Tallahassee, or to Dothan, Alabama, even Savannah, Georgia. This is going to be some severe weather we're going to have to deal with. Like I said, there's going to be this massive low that's going to come in. It's going to be create a major mess, heavy rain, severe weather, and possibly blizzard-like conditions on the northwest side of this thing. So stay tuned on that. Alrighty. Let's talk about the Polar Express now. So you can see here's the United States down here. This is basically a snapshot of the northern hemisphere. All these cooler colors, basically a trough of low pressures. Warmer colors means high pressure. So you need high pressure to get up into Alaska, which is going to happen towards not this week, but next. And like I said, as we go towards middle of the month, we have a blocking high in Greenland. That means we're going to have just basically a huge dump of cross-polar flow of Arctic air come straight into the United States. And there's going to be some extremes out there. So remember what we kind of mentioned this to our public's page 2 weeks ago about the possibility of 40 to 50 below average. There's some hints of some shades of basically 2021 of how this pattern is really waking up. So you guys need to get prepared because this this cold is coming, and everybody, I'm sure you've seen some posts here and there from other sources that have been showing this, but we have been talking about mid-January and further, basically mid-January on, that we were going to have a rough winter, and looks like it's coming true. We talked about the supporter hub since August, and we had it in our winter forecast since August, and we shared it with y'all in October as well. So, all right, let's take a look at anomalies real quick. I'm going to have a full long range update on the supporter hub. If you're not a supporter, I'm telling you, you're missing out because we try to warn you all as long as possible. I mean, we've been talking about this over the supporter hub for a while now, and really nailed it that it was coming even back last month. Talking about December 20th, we're going to start having pattern change. Southern Jet's going to start getting active. The 30th, we're going to start having step down cold. That's what's been happening. And then as we get towards middle of January, that's when the hammer is going to drop here. The Polar Express is coming. So this is where this system's coming through Tuesday. Yes, it's going to be warm out ahead of it because you're going to get this Gulf of Mexico flow basically just driving up here. So we're going to be a little bit above average out southeast, and then below average right behind it. And then as we get towards, like I said, middle of the month, you can see it. It's all piling up out here towards the west, and it's going to start dropping south in a hurry here. And this one model only goes out to the 14th, but it's sitting here, and it's going to. Remember, I showed you some models. Basically, it was driving the cold into the mountains here. I do not believe that's going to happen. Models usually do that for some reason, but yet it's going to come further east. Going to drop down the plains here east of the Rockies. Basically, just hug the Rockies and just drop straight south. Okay, that's what we think was going to happen. Said shades of 2021 are in the car. All right, so this was the model I showed supporters last night as well. This is Saturday, like not this weekend, but next. You can see straight out of Canada. You can see these basically this big, huge trough coming in through the Rockies and basically settling over the central part of the United States. It's going to be dropping a ton of cold air across the area with that polar vortex coming down as well. And it's going to be, man, it's going to be, if this plays out, that's why I'm saying I'm really getting concerned. This is going to be this is a 2021 look here, February 2021 look here across this area. So I'm getting really concerned about electrical and heating demand across most of the United States because it's, like I said, it's going to get dangerous cold across most of the United States, especially central and east. Not just the rest of this month, but February as well. So we've been, like I said, we've been talking about this for a long time. And if you want some more details, we go into a lot more details over the supporter hub. Like I said, if you want to join, it's $4.99 a month. So come on over, and we'll talk. We'll be having another long range discussion probably tomorrow when you get done with this first system today, and then we're going to start talking about that next system next week. As I say, here's that European model. I said it's dropping this stuff straight south, and this is what I think is going to happen. This is going to be dangerous cold. I mean, you can see the minimum values here. This is all this cold here. This is temperature anomalies, by the way. So anything cool colors, it's going to be below average. You can see the scale down here. Once you get to the blues, to the greens here, it's like 5 to 10 below average. Greens to whites, 15 below average. Then you get to the purples, it goes up to 20. Then you get to the pinks and the light pinks here. It's upwards of 30 below normal. You go down here and see the minimum here. Look at this, 54 below normal. And this stuff is just driving south. And we're going to have a lot of snowpack that's going to be built over the next 10 days too. So there's going to be no stopping this from coming down. So after this, I mean, this is as far out as this model goes. But this thing is going to come straight south into the Gulf and then start and go east as well. There's going to be no stopping it. There's going to be no stopping it. So, like I said, we've been talking about this for a while. It was in our winter outlook as well about mid-January and on. So time to get prepared. So, all right, let's go over snow accumulations one more time. Taking up almost 40 minutes of your time now. All right, let's wrap this up. Okay, so snow accumulations through Friday afternoon here or Friday night. Light blue, nothing to a dusting, maybe a little bit more. Just depends on temperatures. Okay, so don't be surprised if you get a little bit more across this blue area. Just like I said, all depends on the temperature across this area. Okay, so once you get to the lighter blues here towards West Plains, Mountain Home, maybe a dusting to an inch, maybe a little bit higher than that. Just depends on your elevation. If you're down in a valley, you're probably not going to get much, or you're up on a hill, you get more. This all depends on this where the heavier banding's going to set up, and how cold it actually gets. Which, like I said, current temperatures versus what the models are saying, it's already 2 to 3 degrees, busted 2 to 3 degrees below what model guidance is. So we'll see how that is. Higher elevations, western Arkansas out towards northwest Arkansas, Boston Mountains, 1 to 2 inches, possibly higher than that, especially when you get up to about 1,500 to 2,000 feet. I think you may see 2 to 3, maybe even higher than that. We'll just have to see how that plays out. Once you get towards Kansas, parts of far northern Oklahoma, down towards Amarillo, 1 to 2 inches. Locally higher amounts. I think the locally higher amounts will be just north of town in Amarillo, possibly 3 to 4, maybe 5 up that way. And then the big winner out here is New Mexico, 5 to 10 plus, especially the higher elevation, about 6,500 feet, may get up to a foot or more out that way. All right, there's a lot of stuff going on. This next couple weeks will be very busy. Very, very busy. Big storm system early next week, and then possibly another big storm, system early next weekend. The 12Z GFS went absolutely ballistic with that system as well for not this weekend but next. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Some of this. Sorry about that. Felt like I was going to sneeze. All right. So, like I said, that 12Z GFS went absolutely ham on that. Not this weekend, but next weekend storm system. It was throwing out like feet of snow across parts of the area. I'm going to show the supporters that. We're going to go over long range in the supporter hub probably tomorrow evening. All right. So if you live in any of these areas, keep up with the road conditions. Be careful driving in the morning. A lot of this snow is going to be getting towards western Arkansas around 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and that's when rush hour is. So just be very careful. There's some big bridges over towards western Arkansas, northwest Arkansas. So just be very careful in the morning and just watch. It's going to be a nice snowfall out there for a lot of us. I mean, snow will be falling, may not accumulate, but this kind of reminder that winter is here and there is a lot more coming after this. So I'm going to be very busy. I'm going to be doing lives, Facebook lives, and YouTube. We'll be live on YouTube as well, almost daily, probably for the next week or more than that, because like I said, there is a lot going on in the weather, and we knew this was going to happen with this pattern, with basically this big, huge Arctic shocks. And that southern jet, especially with this El Nino going on, with a very active southern jet stream. So we knew it was going to spell trouble eventually. And we said all along, mid-January and on was going to be the bulk of winter for most of the area. So, all right. Thank you so much for watching. I know it was long, but I had a lot of information to cover. So thank you so much for watching. We'll talk again in the morning. Possibly do another live. We'll take a look at some traffic cams out there, see what's going on across the area. Okay. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for watching.